Hi, I'm Barry Farber, and this is Diamonds in the Rough, a show where you'll meet ordinary people who've achieved extraordinary success, people who have inspiring stories, and people who have an overwhelming passion for life. My guest tonight has been a leading broadcast journalist for over 30 years. In 1956, he was the first freelance journalist to enter the Soviet Union, and in 1977 ran for mayor of New York. He has a syndicated radio show and speaks over a dozen languages. Talk radio host Barry Farber joins me to talk about life and achieving success. We'll be right back.
Diamonds in the Rough is brought to you by Custom Cleaner, Home Dry Cleaning Kit.
Welcome back. This is Barry Farber. I was waiting to say this with Barry Farber, but I want to tell you something. It's a special occasion because this person, actually 8 years ago, I met him for the first time, and he doesn't know it, but he made a big difference in my life, and it's an honor to have you back on.
Barry,
it really
thank you
is.
very much.
Really
my delight to be here.
8 years ago, I come into the city, and I bought this book, Barry Farber, Making People Talk, which you're an expert at, and you signed it. It was over 8 years ago. Now, talk about first about communication, because that's your expertise. What is critical about that today?
A very, very powerful subject, and it's hard to reduce to a bumper sticker or a little slogan on a fortune cookie. But you've written many books that on salesmanship and success in business. It's all part of communication.
Sure.
The point is this: Judge Potter Stewart of the United States Supreme Court once said, maybe I can't define pornography, but when I hold it in my hand, I know what it is. Same thing here. You can't define communication, rapport between two people, but when it's not going on, you know it's not going on. I mean, you know when you're clicking, and you know when you're dropping a tulip leaf down the Grand Canyon and waiting for an echo.
You got the best analogy. Nobody says it better than you. Seriously, I had more compliments on the first radio show we did together. You had when we first started, you said something about, first of all, what, now is it 17 languages you...
Well,
how many?
Not enough. Not enough.
Not enough? I can't even name 17
languages. At our language club in New York, we have a language club. We meet every Monday night in New York. And we advise those who come to the language club, when anybody asks you how many languages do you speak, it's dangerous to answer that with a digit higher than 1. Because somebody will come at you with some street slang in that language, and you'll lose your audio and you'll lose your credibility. So when you ask me how many languages do you speak, I give you the approved, politically correct answer. I say 1, and then you pause and take a breath, and then you say, however, I am a student of, and then you may add as many languages as you like to think you speak. I'm a student of about 21.
See, I bring that up because, it might sound like I was going off on a tangent, but that is communication. When you go to events, I hear you sit down at a table and you speak their language. And that builds instant rapport relationship, right? Studying other people.
Barry, the study of language is the only field where there is as much, shall we say, front-end load. In no other field is there as much difference between knowing 0 and knowing a little. If you're into brain surgery, for example, there's very little difference between knowing nothing and knowing a little. If you're into the flying or servicing of intercontinental jet aircraft, there's very little difference between knowing nothing and knowing a little. But if you know 1 word of the foreign language, next time you're in a cab, let's say the driver is black. I'm talking about Manhattan. I don't know how it is in New Jersey. The driver is black, and you see by his name that it ends in an EAU. It's got a French, he's got a French name, and he's black. Ask him in English, are you from Haiti? The answer is always yes. And when he says yes, say, ça passe, papa.
Ça passe, papa?
Ça passe, papa. Now that'll give you the power of it. That is not the French, comment allez-vous, how are you? It's not the French, comment ça va, how are you? That's not French. That's Haitian Creole. That's his language. And you'll see the smile light up from the back of his head. And now, why do you have to win the hearts and minds of New York cab drivers? You may want him to make a U-turn of questionable legality. You may want him to stop in front of a building for 35 seconds so you can run in and deliver a package or pick something up from the doorman. If every member of Congress were a New York City cab driver, that would be a capital offense. But the minute you give him one word, one phrase of his language, the ice turns into steam, doesn't even waste time going through the stage of water.
Right. Well, that's what you do well. You're the master of communication. You are able to understand what gets people to tick, because once you make them feel important, doesn't matter if they're a cab driver, CEO, everybody's the most important person. What is one tip that everybody can use about maybe they're having a conversation with a customer, their spouse, that can really hear, people should always do this?
Well, Barry, it's hard to give that kind of a brain implant. All I can do is give you an example. Once upon a time, I was at a party, and the woman was very, very wealthy, the hostess, and somebody else at the party worked for Christie's or Sotheby's, you know, one of those galleries. And she said, "So help me, Gene, I've got a customer for that picture." She pointed to a picture on the wall for $72 million. And the woman didn't want to sell it. And the woman who asked her said, "Why?" She said, "Well, I like to look at it." All right, that impressed me. A couple days later, I was the guest of an investment banker's office in Midtown Manhattan. And he was showing me around. He was very proud of the artwork in the office. And he pointed to a picture and said, "You see there? That picture alone is worth $17 million. Now freeze. What's the natural human thing to do? The natural human thing to do is say, "Hey, man, that's nothing. I was at a party the other night and I saw a picture worth $72 million. No, you'll get your investment finance. You'll get what you want. You'll get what you want a lot quicker if you just sit there and let yourself be impressed. Why rain on his parade?
Exactly.
He's peacock proud that he's got a picture there that's worth $17 million. So what kind of a big shot are you going to be? How's it going to pay off for you if he's, $17 million, that's nothing. I was almost $72 million. Come on, it's just common sense. Put yourself in his position. You don't ever ask things, the negative answer to which would make him feel bad. Do you still date that movie star? You understand what I mean?
Exactly.
How about that play you told us about you were writing last Thanksgiving? Don't ever ask a question. These are just two examples.
Yeah, but you know the basics are what people forget about.
These are two communicatory snowflakes in an unending blizzard. You can't cover it all.
You're an animal.
You can't make
By the way,
rules.
seriously, come on, let's get... seriously, you're amazing. Because we can talk for another 5 hours, by the way. We're going to go to break, come back with Barry Farber. Who's the host, who's the guest, who cares? We'll be right back.